Guy Madison, born Robert Ozell Mosley on January 19, 1922, in Kern County, California, came of age during the hardships of the Great Depression, an experience that shaped his grounded personality and quiet resilience. Raised with small-town values, Madison's early life was practical rather than glamorous, and acting was never part of his original plan. After graduating from Bakersfield College, he focused his studies on animal husbandry, intending to build a stable career in agriculture. World War II changed that course dramatically. Madison enlisted in the United States Navy and served honorably as a radio operator in the Pacific, an experience that instilled discipline, humility, and a strong sense of responsibility. These qualities would later define both his public image and his private life, earning him respect from colleagues and audiences alike long before he ever became a recognizable face on screen. Discovery and a sudden rise to stardom. During a brief leave in Hollywood in 1944, Madison's life took an unexpected turn when he was noticed by talent agent Henry Wilson, who saw star potential in the young serviceman's striking looks and calm demeanor. Madison made his screen debut that same year in a small, uncredited role as a soldier in Since You Went Away, a casting choice that resonated strongly with wartime audiences. Despite having no formal acting training, his appearance sparked immediate attention, and he was soon signed to a studio contract. Throughout the late 1940s, Madison appeared in films that emphasized his wholesome, all-American image, including Till the End of Time and Honeymoon. While critics sometimes noted his inexperience, audiences responded warmly to his sincerity and natural screen presence, qualities that helped him steadily build a successful Hollywood career. Becoming Wild Bill Hickok Guy, Madison's defining success arrived in 1951 when he was cast as the title character in The Adventures of Wild Bill Hickok, a series broadcast simultaneously on television and radio. The role transformed him into a national icon and firmly placed him at the center of America's Western craze. Dressed in buckskins and accompanied by Andy Devine's lovable sidekick Jingles, Madison portrayed Hickok with a blend of strength, fairness, and quiet warmth. The show reached millions of households and became a staple of early television history. Madison's image appeared everywhere, from lunchboxes to comic books, making him a hero to children and a symbol of dependable masculinity to adults. Despite the overwhelming popularity, those who worked with him often remarked on his humility, professionalism, and genuine appreciation for his fans, traits that never faded even at the height of his fame. Film work and international success. Although television made him a household name, Madison continued working steadily in feature films throughout the 1950s and 1960s, particularly in westerns and action adventures. One notable project was The Charge at Feather River, which gained attention for its innovative sound techniques. As the popularity of American westerns declined, Madison adapted rather than resisted change. He shifted much of his career to Europe, especially Italy, where he starred in numerous films during the rise of the spaghetti western genre. These productions, while often modest in budget, allowed him to remain creatively active and introduced him to international audiences. Madison approached every role with professionalism, regardless of scale or location, earning a reputation as a reliable and respected actor. His willingness to evolve kept his career alive long after many of his contemporaries faded from the screen. Public marriages and private struggles. In 1949, Madison married actress Gail Russell, a union that captured public attention due to their shared fame and striking appearances. Privately, however, the marriage was challenged by emotional strain and the intense pressures of Hollywood life. Russell struggled deeply with anxiety and alcoholism, issues that proved difficult for both partners to navigate. The couple separated in 1953 and finalized their divorce the following year. Shortly afterward, Madison married actress Sheila Connolly, with whom he shared a quieter domestic life and 3 daughters. While the marriage initially offered stability, long separations caused by work and constant travel gradually created distance. Their divorce was finalized in 1963, though Madison remained an involved and caring father. These relationships reflected the complicated balance between public expectation and private reality common among stars of Hollywood's studio era. Fatherhood and personal responsibility beyond the screen, Guy Madison took pride in being a father, a role he approached with the same seriousness he brought to his career. He remained actively involved in the lives of his daughters, even after his second marriage ended, and later welcomed a son who pursued an acting career of his own in Italy. Madison's time working abroad allowed him to maintain a close bond with his son, offering guidance shaped by decades of experience in an often unforgiving industry. Friends described Madison as thoughtful and protective of his children, conscious of shielding them from the pressures he himself had endured. Fatherhood grounded him, providing purpose beyond fame and reinforcing his desire for a quieter life as he aged. It was in these personal relationships that Madison found fulfillment beyond applause and public recognition, life behind a carefully managed image. To the public, Guy Madison embodied a classic Hollywood ideal, clean-cut, dependable, and emotionally reserved. Like many actors of his generation, his image was carefully managed by studios operating under strict moral codes. Personal privacy was not just preferred, it was essential for career survival. Madison later reflected on how emotionally demanding it was to live under constant scrutiny, always mindful of expectations and appearances. Hollywood in the mid-20th century allowed little room for personal complexity, forcing many performers to separate their true selves from their public identities. Madison's reflections, shared late in life, emphasize empathy rather than controversy, focusing on the emotional cost of secrecy rather than naming or accusing others. His story mirrors that of countless entertainers who navigated similar pressures in an era far less accepting than today. Quiet connections and shared understanding. Rather than sensational stories, Madison spoke thoughtfully about the importance of companionship, trust, and understanding in a world governed by fear and rumor. He described how actors of his generation often formed deep bonds with one another, finding comfort in shared experiences rather than public validation. These connections, built on discretion and mutual respect, helped many endure the isolation created by rigid studio rules. Madison emphasized that love and companionship existed quietly, expressed in small moments rather than grand gestures. His reflections reveal a man more interested in emotional truth than public revelation. By focusing on shared humanity rather than labels, Madison offered a compassionate perspective on an industry that demanded perfection while denying authenticity, reminding listeners that personal connection often survives even in the most restrictive environments. Retreat from fame and final years. After retiring from acting in the late 1970s, Guy Madison chose a peaceful life in California's Morongo Valley, far from the demands of Hollywood. There he built a ranch-style home surrounded by open land, reflecting his lifelong appreciation for nature and privacy. He spent his days gardening, riding horses, and hosting close friends, embracing a slower, more reflective pace of life. Though he remained a welcome guest at film festivals and Western conventions, Madison no longer sought the spotlight. As his health declined due to emphysema, he continued to maintain relationships with longtime friends and admirers. Even in illness, those close to him noted his grace and quiet strength, traits that had defined him both on and off screen throughout his life. Legacy of grace and quiet integrity Guy Madison passed away on February 6, 1996, at the age of 74, leaving behind a legacy rooted not only in iconic performances, but in dignity and kindness. He was laid to rest at Forest Lawn Cemetery in Cathedral City, California, following a modest service attended by family, friends, and colleagues. Tributes focused less on celebrity and more on character, remembering him as loyal, humble, and deeply human. His life story offers a window into Hollywood's golden age, revealing both its glamour and its constraints. Madison's legacy endures as a reminder that behind every polished image is a real person navigating complex choices. In honoring his truth with care and compassion, his story continues to resonate across generations.